Welcome, welcome, welcome to another wonderful episode of Black Jewel Tarot. Here to inspire you and give you something different. Tonight we're going to work on the Judgment card.
Judgment, Triple D. Here we go again. We almost wrapping up our major arcana. But before we wrap up our major arcana, we want to make sure that you know that we still have open bookings and availability for recovery life coaching. Go ahead and check the description for a link. And or send an email to Jewel. Email is in the description as well. Moving us right along. 50 years of hip hop and the crack epidemic, trauma left behind. I am your producer and co-host, Laura Nicole Haldane. Getting us started. We've come a long ways in this cool journey, Drew. Now we're here at the judgment. Can you tell us a little bit about what that actually means?
It's so interesting when we talk about judgment because we usually place that judgment on somebody else with our, perceived perceptions of other people. Just you this and you that, you this. But in this wonderful illusionary with the angel, the horn, very symbolic and it's triumphing, but it's asking you to, it's about the inner judgment and criticizing ourselves. So it's about the inner strength that we could bring out in that awareness. So when you look at it, you might just think, oh no, it's about somebody else and other people. No, it's really a reflective card, how we see us and how we need to be aware of that. Pluto energy, what is Pluto? Pluto is regeneration and transformation. So within that, being aware to transform how we think about things. What else? Libra. Libra is balance. Libras are very balanced. The scales will turn. And then the negative side of judgment is guilt and self hate. And when I thought about that, I thought about the inner critic and how during those times of my personal epidemic, being self critic, being my own worst self critic, and not seeing the brighter side to things. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And and this card brings out judgment. Here we go. From all shapes, sizes, and colors. Judgment coming from out of the ground from everywhere. And it doesn't matter man, woman, and child. All of this, we encompass all of that because we have an inner child. We have male energy and female energy. So it's just bringing out everything. And then I like to see how up in the clouds it is, that judgment. Some stuff could not even be worth judging. It's way, you got yourself way up there in your head and you don't have to be. Definitely.
I'm curious about why is it necessary to come into the phase of judgment right after the sun? Right? The sun was such a the sun was such a sun card.
So, and I want to take you back to, so the sun is finding that happy energy, right? And on the flip side, it's about abortions and all this negative stuff. The moon, illusions. So you got to go through these illusions to find the sun in your life, bring out the happiness, the child in you, and be reflective. The judgment card is more of a reflective card and a time to sit back and listen to your higher self. This angel is a representation of your higher self, higher thinking, higher spiritual knowledge where you can reflect and make a different choice and not going back on the ills or young thoughts, young behavior. Like they say, when you know better, you do better. That's really what the judgment card is about. That's what I perceive it to be. Somebody else may have a different analogy, but for me, it's, keeping it above, turning it around and facing it, walking towards it and dealing with it.
I like that. And you know what? What I'm finding is that in this pattern of going through the major arcana, we find that sort of roller coaster of having those moments of clarity and then going back to reassess those moments of clarity. And so I'm curious about whether or not there is a larger idea around actualizing and then reflecting and how that may show up I guess in our lives in these different architectural moments. If that's something that's related to it, like, is that the purpose of going through these cycles? Is for us to actualize, for us to integrate, for us to reflect? Like, I'm just curious about it in relationship to, like, I mean, and I say this because we're headed on into our last card, the world card, and so I'm trying to put it into context of how it all applies to it, right? And I know that's a big question.
That's a big question, so I'm gonna narrow it down to actualizing is looking at it for what it really is. You're not the victim. When you're able to actualize and in that reflection and take yourself out of the victim, because that's the judgment. Judgment is the victim cycle that you're judging yourself, and you're the self-critic. You're your own self-critic. You're your own worst best friend. And when you're able to reflect that from the illusions of the moon, bringing out the sun on your fool's journey, and then it is the world card. Then you can see the world with the strengths and the attributes that the world card bring. And we'll talk about that in the next episode. I don't want to give too much away. But it's that view, how you see yourself and how you change yourself, transmuting negativity into positivity. One of my favorite quotes by the Shoni, he's a Buddhist from SGI, the one who founded the Buddhism, Sensei Shoni. Turn poison into medicine. Turn poison into medicine. Turn poison into medicine. Everything that's handed into you, you ain't got to keep it and let it be toxic to you, your body, your environment, your energy, your children, whatever, your work environment. Flip it. Flip it. And that's the simplest way I could put it. In your actualization and your reflection, turn poison into medicine. And before you even ask, I'll say even in the crack epidemic, being able to transmute that poison into medicine means survival. It means escaping drugs, jails, and institutions. Like you have to, that's the only way you'll be able to survive. And that's the only way you can really survive anything, is being able to take that negative attitude or anything negative and changing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you all took something away from that. As we stated before, we're headed into our last card for the major arcana for this series. But before we get there and close out this episode,
Mhm.
please make sure to plug in Black Jewel Tarot readings. Go ahead and give us a call. Our number is in the description below. Book your appointment today. Either do that via phone call, which is probably a little bit better, or do that via email. All of that information will be in the description below. And then without further ado, this has been Black Jewel Tarot. We're out.
Look, yeah.